Manchester United have finally got their man. Carlos Baleba is heading to Old Trafford in a deal worth up to £70 million. £65 million guaranteed, another £5 million in potential add-ons, and suddenly Manchester United's midfield looks completely different. But there's a problem. Baleba isn't arriving after his best season. He's coming off a campaign where his form dropped significantly, and he's currently recovering from an ankle ligament injury. So why would United spend £70 million on him? Is this the midfielder who can transform Manchester United, or have they just made another expensive gamble? This is the full goal verdict. Sky Sports reports the deal structure as £65 million guaranteed plus £5 million add-ons, while noting Baleba's dip in form and current injury recovery. Before we judge the price, we need to understand the player. Carlos Baleba is only 22 years old. He joined Brighton from Lille in 2023 and has already made more than 100 appearances for the club. And when Baleba is playing at his best, you can immediately see why Manchester United have been interested for so long. He's athletic. He's aggressive. He can win the ball, and perhaps most importantly, he can carry the ball through midfield. That last part is massive. Because Manchester United don't just need somebody who sits in front of the defense. They need someone who can help them move from defense into attack. Someone who can receive the ball under pressure, turn, drive forward, and suddenly put United on the front foot. That's the version of Baleba Manchester United are hoping to get. Baleba joined Brighton from Lille in 2023 and has made 112 appearances for the club according to Sky Sports. Now let's look at Manchester United. This transfer actually makes a lot of sense when you look at what their midfield has been missing. United need more authority in the center of the pitch. They need players who can win possession in deeper areas. They need athleticism. And they need somebody capable of covering ground when the team loses the ball. Baleba can potentially provide all of that. And there's another interesting part. United have already signed Yuri Tielemans and Andres Santos this summer. But Baleba is different. Tielemans gives you control and passing. Santos brings his own qualities. Baleba brings something much more physical. He can become the player who gives the midfield balance. And that's exactly what Manchester United have been searching for. Sky Sports describes Baleba's athleticism, aggression and ball carrying as qualities that could add dynamism and steel to United's midfield. Sky Sports. But now we have to talk about the money. £70 million. That's not a small investment. And what's interesting is that Brighton reportedly wanted significantly more for Baleba just 1 year ago. At one point, his valuation was reportedly above £100 million. So Manchester United will look at this deal and say, we got him for less. But there's another way to look at it. Baleba's form dipped last season. So United are essentially betting that the player from his breakout season can return. And if he does, £70 million could eventually look like a bargain. But if he doesn't, that price tag becomes a massive problem. Before we get into the biggest question about this transfer, if you're enjoying the video, subscribe to GoalVerdict right now. We're building this channel around the biggest football stories, transfers and debates, but we don't just give you the headline. We give you the verdict. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications if you want to keep up with the next video, and let's continue. Because there's one thing about this transfer that United fans need to know. And that brings us to the biggest immediate concern. Baleba isn't fully fit right now. He's recovering from an ankle ligament injury picked up during preseason. The good news is that reports indicate the injury isn't expected to keep him out for an extended period. But United aren't getting their £70 million signing ready to walk straight onto the pitch. Sky Sports reports that he's expected to be fit around the middle of September. That means United may have to be patient. And patience isn't always easy at Manchester United. Especially when you've just spent £70 million. Fans will want to see him immediately. They'll want to know whether he's worth the money. But the smartest thing United can do is make sure Baleba is properly recovered before throwing him into the team. So let's imagine Baleba is fully fit. What actually changes? First, United get more physical presence in midfield. Second, they get someone who can cover ground. Third, they get another player capable of winning possession. And fourth, they get a midfielder who can carry the ball forward. That last quality could be particularly important. Imagine United winning the ball near their own penalty area. Instead of immediately passing backwards, Baleba can potentially turn and drive through the first line of pressure. Suddenly United are attacking. That's the kind of transition football that can change matches. And if Michael Carrick can build a midfield structure around those qualities, Baleba could become extremely important. But Baleba isn't joining an empty midfield. United already have Tielemans. They have Andre Santos. They have Bruno Fernandes. They have Kobbie Mainoo. And that creates an interesting selection problem. Who plays? Who sits? What formation does Carrick use? Does Baleba play as the deepest midfielder? Does he get freedom to carry the ball? Or does United use him as a box-to-box player? Those decisions could determine whether this transfer succeeds. Because signing the right player isn't enough. You have to put him in the right system. And here's my biggest concern. It's not actually his injury. It's the expectation. £70 million creates pressure. Manchester United fans aren't going to want to hear, he's only 22. They're going to want performances. They're going to want results. And they're going to compare him with other expensive midfielders. That's why Baleba needs time. He's still developing. He's coming from Brighton to one of the biggest clubs in world football. The pressure is completely different. But that's also what makes this transfer exciting. If he gets back to his best and develops further, United could have a midfielder for years. So let's answer the question. Is Carlos Baleba a game changer or a gamble? Honestly, he's both. He's a gamble because Manchester United are paying £70 million for a young player whose form dipped last season. But he's also a potential game changer because his physical profile is exactly what United have been missing. If he returns to his best level, United could have a midfield capable of competing with the best teams in England. And if he develops even further, we could eventually look back at £70 million and say, Manchester United got a bargain. So here's the final goal verdict. I like the transfer. Not because £70 million is cheap. It isn't. I like it because the player actually addresses a genuine weakness. United need athleticism. They need defensive power. They need ball carrying. And they need a midfielder who can grow with the team. Baleba can potentially provide all four. But now comes the hard part. Manchester United have to develop him correctly. They have to manage his return from injury. And most importantly, Baleba has to prove that his best version wasn't just a one-season wonder. So now it's your turn. Game changer or £70 million gamble? Drop your verdict in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to GoalVerdict for more transfer stories, football analysis and straight-to-the-point verdicts. I'll see you in the next one.